they just invested significant capital redoing their pool structure, and they have a very competitive swimming program too.
Those are both outdoor, sir?
Yes. Both outdoor.
Thank you. We'll make sure to get that included.
Okay. And on those 300, I do think there will be a correlation between the 300 memberships, because if you calculate it out, 2 people in that household, 5 days a week, 12 weeks, that's 36,000 visits a year. So even if you start playing with the number of days and things like that, I do think there will be a correlation. So I would appreciate that analysis.
Yes, sir.
In addition, John, they have their neighbors over. You know, if somebody has a pool and they like that's their neighbor, so the leakage is probably more than just the people who put.
Oh, I agree.
So, we done up here? Okay. People in the audience want to address this issue. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, this is Kathleen Cadon from 4713 Noble Road. I had a question about the longevity of the structures that you're building. You talked about in the baby pool area there's corrosion and that needs to be replaced, and you said that was built in 2008. So that's a little bit over 10 years old, so that didn't last very long. So like how long, what would the material be of the bulkhead, and what are the longevity projections for those types of structures?
I'd like to take one part of it, and then I'll hand the second part of it to Jeff. When I reference the corrosion, that is on the metal portions of the shade structure and not the basin itself. So when I just want to clarify that the corrosion was related to the shade structure.
Sure, and add on the pool structures themselves have at least a 30-year life, and as much as 50 years or more is very typical for the structure. In fact, your pool facility is a good example of a structure that's 45 years old, and it's in very good condition, and there's no reason to believe right now that structure won't last for many decades more. So the shell of the pool is kind of the basic foundation of that structure and the longevity. But there is equipment that does need to be replaced as time goes on.
And what will the bulkhead be made of? Like, because I know for swim meets they put in a temporary bulkhead. So what is the bulkhead going to be that's in there?
Our initial thinking is the bulkhead would be a concrete structure. It would be very much the same as the shell itself, but we could look at alternatives that could be PVC or fiberglass or something like that that's also corrosive resistant material.
Thank you.
I'd just briefly add as well, for the benefit of the commissioners and the people in the audience, that we're lucky enough to have 3 certified pool, nationally certified pool operators that oversee the operations and management of the pool in order to provide proper maintenance and try and get the best longevity out of the filtration system and the pool itself.
And we would echo that. We did report that and talk about that at the initial town hall meeting, and I think that sentiment, it's why the cost recovery is what it is, and the managing of how this facility is operating. So I do want to say, from our work with them so far in our study of this, we would echo what you just said.
Did you, when you were doing your studies, did you look at the ages of the people who were using the pool, actually using it?
To answer your question. So I'm just going to repeat back to make sure I understand. So the day pass users and the membership holders, when they scanned, if we have a look at that particular demographic information, no, we have not. We can work with staff and see if we can pull those reports. We have not done so at this time.
Is that data that we have?
To an extent, daily admission will be a little bit tougher.
What I was looking for is it basically a pool that's being used by youngsters or seniors using the pool? If maybe there's a target, maybe there's some activities that we should be looking at that would bring in some additional people.
And one thing we have, what we can do is look at the membership type. So when we are reporting here, we are lumping all memberships together, all daily admissions together. But on your memberships, you have varying options for your memberships, so we can break that down too and study that.
One of the other issues, and this, I can't imagine how you cover it, but I'll bring it up. One of the important issues is when the end of the season comes along and our lifeguards go back to school, even though it's good weather, we have to close the pool because we have no lifeguards. Have you run into any solution to that in other places where you can get lifeguards that can fill in or do something during a period of time? Because we don't like to shut down when it's still nice out, but you can't open the pool without somebody there to watch it.
This is a national challenge, and I'm going to share a quick story. So we're from the state of Kansas, and with our national association, just a few weeks ago, we had an entire workshop on this issue. So this is a national problem. There are options out there, but first and foremost, we would need to work with the staff to understand more about the makeup of the staff and the options utilized. From what we understand right now, good efforts are being made to keep and retain and recruit staff, but that is going to be a consideration for your agency and other agencies moving forward. Are there options out there? Yes. Do all options work for every community? No.
We're still in the audience, is there anybody out there?
So I have another question. In your financial analysis, will you ensure that the additional lifeguard staff to supervise all these new amenities that they're climbing on and falling in and everything else, lazy rivers and everything that needs to be monitored? I want to make sure we have fully loaded costs so that when we do cost benefit analysis, it's a true cost analysis, because we're very proud that we run it as an enterprise fund and it breaks even. I do not believe that a swimming pool or a golf course should be subsidized by taxpayer dollars. It should be a standalone facility, and we have proven over time that it can be done when the Board of Governors decides that it will be a full user subsidized operation. And I mean, the facility's in top notch, it's maintained, and it breaks even and actually turns a little revenue for reinvestments into the capital structure. So I would want to maintain that going into the future, but I need you to make sure we have fully loaded costs.
Yes, so the way we do this is for each of your options, we provide a detailed projection on staffing. Something like staffing, that is contingent upon many variables, but we will do a projection forward on a typical busy day so that you have a conservative number, each day varying, we all know that. But we will break things down like costs of goods and supplies. So the budget items you have right now, we will project forward for each of the options so you can compare apples to apples.
Still with the audience, anybody have a question or a comment?
Hi, my name's Tony Chase. I've lived in this area since 2006. And could you go back to the slide about the pools you looked at?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great.
And this is not an exhaustive list. This is just a sampling of what was identified in the public engagement. The final report will include all facility listings.
I found it, I wouldn't have thrown Hershey Park in there unless you know, I don't think a lot of, you either go there or you have a season membership. I didn't see the YMCA outdoor pool in there. That closed. I'm not sure if it closed in 2010. I know one year since I lived here, I belonged to the Y, so I had the outdoor pool. I joined the Camp Hill pool and the Hampton Township pool. Recently, we joined West Shore Country Club, and I've been on the pool committee since 2012, and I was involved with doing the pool there. And to your comment, just to let you know, they had some ways to get younger members in, but it was only for a short period of time, so I don't think that's something you have to worry about on a regular basis. Carlisle Country Club, on the other hand, they have a varying structure on their membership to make it attractive to younger families. That might be more of a competition, but I didn't think West Shore Country Club was. The things that I saw, and I didn't see it in this, being that I've been the pool person at all these different pools, and I'm one of those lap people, so I like to swim laps, is there's not a dedicated lap lane. And my issue always was, and I didn't see it addressed in here, are the bus programs. They have run the school buses, which is kind of nice for the kids who are at home, and they bus them to the pool. And that really, you can tell by like 12:15, the whole tempo of the pool is different. And then the addition of bringing in the kids from summer camps, I think that adds to it. There's not as much supervision as you would want. And I would also add, well, I guess not really, Keystone Aquatics, which is a little bit out of your range, but that's a new facility that has come in. And I was just kind of surprised at some of the suggestions on, I think the suggestion 2. I think it's a great, if you see what they're doing over at Hershey, they started their project and they've run into artistic differences with the price tag and everything, and I think they're changing what they're doing. They were originally going to do a 50-meter pool and have a great facility, and they're not doing that anymore. I think people don't realize what a gem we have here with a 50-meter, 8-lane pool, 9-lane pool. I also am a swimming referee, so I do a lot of the meets all over the place. And the concept of adding in that bulkhead and getting rid of those 6 lanes that was just a big disappointment to me to just even see that being considered, because it's really a gem to have a 50-meter 8-lane pool. It's not the fastest pool if you're trying to get a time for something, but being able to train in that type of environment is a great opportunity for our competitive swimmers around here, and even the old people who like to swim laps without doing as many turns to hurt their back. So I like the long course pool myself. I think there could be a little more there. We're not Hershey Park. I don't think it has to be Hershey Park. I just think we need to really think about how to maintain what we're doing here and make it it could be better. With the West Shore Country Club pool renovation, if you swum in that pool, it doesn't look very different than it did last year. It was all the surrounding area that really made people are kind of happy with that. I think it's great the direction you're going in, but the issues about the kids, the unsupervised kids that come in, they just add an element of unrest if you're there for a pleasant day. I guess that's really all I had to say. I'm not really prepared on this. Didn't know where this was going, but thank you.
And just as a reminder, if you have additional comments, we do want to hear from you. My card is on the back table. So once you go home and you think about it a little bit more, and this goes for anybody, I will compile those comments, and they will be a part of this conversation and this process.
Yeah, I guess I really missed the whole survey thing, and I don't know if it's because I usually, go away in the beginning of August and then school starts. So I'll grab one of your things, and I'm happy to provide feedback.
Thank you.
So, Mike Erno, in regards to her comment about the buses and the summer camp and things like that, are those attendees paying memberships, or how does that work? Do they belong to the pool and they're counted in those membership numbers, or how does that?
Yeah.
Could you come to the mic, please, so everyone can hear you?
We have a multitude of camps coming. We have our own summer camp, which they do pay for the pool one way or another. It's either included in their summer camp weekly rate, or they buy a pool membership. don't bus, we used to have a bus program that went throughout the township. The popularity of that died off, so it was more expensive than it was worth, so we stopped that probably 5-6 years ago.
So the kids that are coming in those summer programs, they're creating the revenue that we're seeing.
Yes, any other camp program that comes to the pool, they're paying daily admission, or, I don't know, does the one camp still buy memberships?
Most camps do not buy memberships anymore, they just pay the daily.
By the day.
Okay.
So,
By the day.
but they are paying, yes.
And we do try to keep, ask for a heads up when a camp comes, so we can try to keep max at it too, but it's a public pool and people just show up.
Residents, do you have ID cards from the township? Do you know about that? You know, if you have an ID card, you get a discount at the desk.
Yes, yes, the resident ID card get a discount, yes.
Correct, so if you don't have an ID card, they're free. You go to the rec building, which is on the way to the pool on the right side, you take a picture, you give you a card in a couple minutes. Piece of cake. If you don't have one, get one, save money for a golf, you don't save money. Save money for the golf course. The deadline for these cards that you suggested for the back here, when that's still within your report.
What's today? I would say if we can get those back in the next 2 weeks maximum, because we will need time to compile that information, include it into our ongoing report that has begun. So I would say 2 weeks from today would be our due date for any sort of public comment to come back and be included in the study.
And Tony, just so you know, what we generally do, we have these nice reports, and I don't like to see them gather dust when they're done. So we like to have some action after we do this type of study. So what we've typically done in the past, when we have these special events that might cost a little bit of money and there's special interest by certain people in our community, we ask them to help the township by voluntarily serving on a committee for the subject of being put together, and let them advise the commissioners then about option 1, option 2, option 3, or option 12, depending on what they do. So it may be that if we keep your names on there.
My pleasure. It was very painful to go through it, like, no, thank you.
And I think we can appreciate the experience that can. But anyhow, just wanted you to be forewarned that I got your name.
And on the private pool construction, I would extrapolate that out further, because I think that trend is going to continue in this township.
To be clear, when you say private pool, can you?
In their backyards.
In their private, thank you.
Like of those construction projects, I think that it's a proven trend, and I do think it will continue based upon the socioeconomic status. So I do think the membership at the pool will continue to decline due to the construction of private backyard pools.
My recollection is this was partially funded by a grant that you obtained through DCNR.
That's correct.
And presumably at a future date, if the board wanted to consider pursuing improvements to the pool, I'm sure there's opportunities for grants to be applied for as well, although they're competitive in nature.
Correct.
All right, thanks.
Still with the audience, anybody else have a question or comment? Seeing none. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
the report. It's very well received. Giving everybody just a few minutes to escape. They probably want to go home and watch Game 7 or sleep. God bless you. Appreciate it.
Matt was asking if you were here. He's at hockey. No, I'm out front over here.
Just for this. We like it. Well, I learned more about pools than I have. Typically. Yeah, I know. Typically our stuff goes first.